Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hey everyone, this is Hanan and Basha, your host, and this is another amazing episode, as always, with amazing women from Empowered to Grow. So today I have my friend, I'd love to call her my friend, of course. We met by fate through one of the coaching programs we were both enrolled in, and we had a conversation and we just clicked. So Susanna Harkonen. Hi, Susanna.
Hi, Hanan.
Okay, so just to give you a bit of background about Susanna. Susanna is all about mental wellness and mental well-being within the corporate workplace. So she's been working with understanding over the years that she's had a lot of global jobs, and we're going to be talking a bit about that. She's witnessed or personally experienced how there were a lot of workplace issues and organizational cultures that actually promoted one thing over another and impacted overall mental wellness and well-being of the people working there. So her approach is based on solid science. She's also done her unique collage of soulful, holistic approach with that. She has a university degree, of course, in mental health. She's trained in positive psychology, cutting-edge neuroscience, which is also an intriguing field for me, executive coaching, effective management practices, and trauma, which is really, really important to talk to someone who's qualified in that sense. Susanna, in essence, she's passionate about people feeling better at work, right?
That's right.
Okay, so we start. The show is Empowered to Grow. What came to your mind when I sent you the message saying, Susanna, I launched my podcast, Empowered to Grow, and I'd love to interview you. What did that term, Empowered to Grow, that phrase, mean to you?
Well, it clicks with my whole philosophy, because one of the things that I have discovered with myself and with my clients is that we don't have that empowerment to move forward, to really make a difference. Mm-hmm. We may try different things and different approaches, and they don't really make an impact. They don't really make a shift. Mm-hmm. And it's that empowerment when you really dig into the roots of the root causes of the reasons why we don't move on. That's when you can move on, and that's when you can move on for real. So you can actually heal things that are in your past and become something that you really want to be.
Sure, which is in connection of
yourself, yeah.
Which is in connection of why we were talking just before the show about trauma, and why you need to be qualified to help people, because if they're traumatized in their past, then it becomes a major block for them. They just actually they shrink rather than thrive during those times, or during the times you're trying to push them for growth. They can't. They've got a roadblock.
Exactly.
So, well, you've empowered yourself to grow. I know we've spoken about this before, and you've had your own unique way of doing it. So tell us a bit about yourself and your story, your own empowerment to grow path.
Well, the reason why I'm so passionate about workplace well-being was that I've always been interested in human psychology and just human beings, basically, and healing and all things that empower us to grow. I have a business degree. I have a master's degree in business administration. And when I first graduated, I went to work in the corporate world. And I was really shocked about the discrepancy between all those things that we had learned about management, leadership. The discrepancy was so big that I had in my mind, like, I just couldn't make sense of it, because it had nothing to do with what I had learned.
Yes.
The abusive, narcissistic leaders,
yes.
Rules that change all the time, the pecking order, the favoritism, the nepotism, the name it. I mean, you know, all these things that you were not officially supposed to have, and they were like common occurrence.
Exactly. That's the norm in corporate life.
That's the norm in corporate life. But you know, as a university student or as a young person, you don't know.
No.
Nobody, if you have not been lucky enough to have people around you told you this,
Yes.
you actually think that this is the way it works. And if you work hard, you will get on and things will be good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work that way, actually.
Nope.
So I was really shell shocked, and I was unfortunately in a situation where I had a boss who was a full-blown narcissist. Did a lot of damage.
Yes.
And whoever, you know, those people who have experienced a narcissistic relationship, especially in a position of power, where that person has power over you in
been there, done that. Yes.
you know how toxic it is, and how like when we are young and we're vulnerable, we don't really have tools to fight back, or you can't even fight back. It's just a no-win situation. Anyway, so long story short, that was how it all started, and then I got into a path of self-development exploration, and I did a lot of things as a hobby for several years. And then I had a corporate job in China. I lived in China for several years and run a company there, and it was a very much of a hardship posting, actually.
Yeah,
I love being in China in many ways, but there was also like, it was a 24/7 job with no support. And in that particular job, what I realized is that I need to start taking care of myself, because otherwise this is not going to end up well.
It's not sustainable. Yeah.
No, it's not sustainable. You know, in the corporate world, oftentimes, for people, you know, when we are, let's say we're 25 when we graduate from the university, or maybe a little bit younger, but let's say 25. And you start working, and the next 10 years, you just tend to work really hard and do your best. And then at 35, people often realize that, you know, this is a dead end, or this is not what I want to do, or this is like, I'm giving my life away. And that's why, you know, often mental health also corresponds to that age. People who have mental health, who want to work on their issues, it actually starts after 30, and especially after 35. So it's that time. And I started reflecting a lot on this. And I was really, really lucky, because I had a chance to be part of a volunteer organization, a volunteer counseling organization.
Okay.
I lived in China. And they gave a fantastic training.
Great.
For being a counselor. And then I started doing, you know, helping people on volunteer basis. And I kept hearing these amazing stories, like of abuse and all sorts of things that, you know, like we all know happen. But when you hear those stories over and over again, it actually is quite, you know,
becomes real. Yeah.
Yeah. It was also very therapeutic, because you said like, oh, I'm not alone.
Yes, that's true. Because
for a lot of us, what happens is that when we don't know that others are experiencing the same, it's not, we don't have that benchmark basically of what's the norm and what's not. So we think that we are in a unique position, and actually we're often not. This is an interesting statistics, but according to one research, only 5% of organizations are healthy. 5.
Wow, that's a worldwide.
Yes.
Ouch.
Yeah. So let's say if you are...
Sorry to cut you off, but that actually makes so much sense, because we also are not aware, or a lot of people are not aware of that, how your well-being and your wellness are across all the fronts of your life. And that is why there's the rise to a lot of abusive relationships. There are a lot of failed relationships. There are a lot of things, because you take it along. You take that along the spectrum of your life.
Yes.
And work, we spend, I mean, for those in corporate, not anymore, but but still a lot of people thrive. But for those in corporate, you spend the majority of your waking days and hours and days of the week actually within the corporate atmosphere, within that setting. And thus it trickles down to everything else in your life. So if only 5% of organizations of the world are concerned with the well-being and the wellness of their employees and literally their families, because they become families, then imagine what it means for the rest of the world.
Yes, it's very true.
Yeah.
And you know, there's an interesting neuroscientific aspect to this. It's not just some sort of a vibe, woo-woo thing, you know.
Yeah, no.
No, it's actually, we actually feel it on our nervous system level.
Mm-hmm.
So when we are in a toxic organization, our nervous system reacts, and it boils down to psychological safety. So if you're not psychologically safe, you're in a state of alert all the time. So all those people who work...
The sympathetic nervous system is always switched on.
It's always switched on.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on the level of toxicity, you're either more or less turned on. And so this is a really, really important piece. It's a very basic piece, but we don't talk about it enough, you know. And when it comes to performance, when it comes to corporate cultures, people don't really understand that this is really a really key piece to making teams innovative, to making people creative. And you know, I can testify to this because I have been very, very lucky recently, after I've done my own empowerment work, and you know, I made a decision that I will not work in toxic environment. Mm-hmm. And nowadays I work with different teams and in different settings, and I have been incredibly lucky, especially during the past year or so, to work with teams that are healthy.
Great.
And it makes an amazing difference.
Of course.
When you don't have to watch for your back, when
Yes.
you don't have to expect the backstabbing like as a norm,
yeah.
And you can, it frees so much energy. And, you know, even if you know this consciously, I knew the theory, but I had hardly experienced that myself. So the difference between experiencing that, knowing it, and experiencing it, it's like it opens your eyes, and it's something that I wish for everybody, because it actually empowers us in ways that nothing else does.
So for you on a personal level, so you're in China, you started getting the counseling training, you started, you know, going through the volunteer work and stuff. Where did your journey go after that? Or how did you say, okay, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
For me, it was a revelation. I had maybe selected my career path, the first career path for, you know, how we often do that when we're younger.
Yeah.
We select it for family reasons or expectations, or we think that it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. I actually had my first degree in logistics and supply chain management. So, yes.
Mine was in journalism and mass communication, and I was supposed to be a doctor because my father expected me to be a doctor. I became a doctor, just not in the same field, but...
Exactly. However, nothing goes into waste in life. But that training has given me a certain rigor and like goal-orientedness, and that I may not have if I, you know, and it has given me a lot of good tools as well. Yep. But anyway, so I was there in China, and I said like, wow, this is like, it was really like coming home. Mm-hmm. And I liked what I was doing, so I decided to enroll myself in a formal training program in a university, and got a university degree in counseling psychology.
That's great.
Yeah, and after that, I moved on to help people around the world, especially in like improve workplace well-being around the world for the UN, for the International Labour Organization, which is part of the United Nations. Mm-hmm. And I did that for several years around the world, actually on 5 continents. So it was an amazing experience because it's you know, you could really get a glimpse into workplace well-being and many aspects of it. And after that, I decided to go and work for myself and work more on the therapy side of things. And here we are. And I've been quite a few years now, so it's a really, really rewarding job, and I love working with the clients that I have.
That's great. That's amazing. So now that you've gone through the journey, from where you stand now, what advice would you impart on your 20-year-old self?
Ooh.
That's why I go through the first question and then we go back again.
I would probably advise my 20-year-old self never to be afraid of tackle any issue heads on. No issue is too difficult.
Yes.
You know, life is about struggle. Life is about complications, but anything and everything can be overcome. It's not always easy. It's not always straightforward. It's not always fast. I have like everybody who has done any kind of personal development works that it doesn't happen in a weekend workshop or 10-day retreat. Mm-hmm. You may get tools, but it doesn't. The real shift doesn't happen that way. It takes time.
Yeah.
But anything can be overcome. So I would encourage. Maybe just having faith in the process and being brave. Yes. You know, knowing that there is this better outcome if you just not even apply yourself, if you're not afraid to go there.
True.
Yeah. What really makes us, what I've noticed over the years is that it's the avoidance part. When we try to avoid our reality, when we don't accept our reality the way it is, that's when we get stuck. When we want it to be so badly something different.
Yeah. And we can create it in a different way. It's just that you still can't run away from whatever's happening now. It still needs to be tackled. It needs to be broken down, not tackled as one big block, because we have been conditioned to see the roadblocks, but actually, you know, shattering down to movable pieces, and then you can sort it out. And whether you still want to go down that path or kind of take a detour, then that's up to you. But you can't take the detour without going through the roadblock first.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mary Furlio, I believe, has the phrase, everything is figure outable.
Yes.
Which in essence is that, but we're not taught that. We're not conditioned in that way growing up. It's just like, you know, if this is too hard, and I think it's been done to us as children. It's like, you know, if that's too hard, it's okay. Move on, mm-hmm. Do something else. You know, you don't have to figure this out. You don't have to take on this sport if it's too hard for you. No, I mean, do you love it? It's like going from a different perspective. Do you have passion for it? Is this what you really want to do? Find a way to do it.
Yes.
Then that is the other perspective change or perspective shift that we need to make as well.
Yes.
So then we go the other way. From a future time capsule, what would you like your 90-year-old self to thank you for today?
I would like her to tell me that to keep. I had the French phrase in my mind. I live in the French-speaking area, which is garder le cap, which is when you have a goal. You know, like if you're on a boat and you're going to one place, you know, you just keep a steady.
This destination. Course. Keep going towards the destination.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that right now I've really found the path, my passion and my path. Mm-hmm. And I do want to be. I want workplace wellness, well-being to be the new norm. Mental wellness at work needs to be the new norm. We cannot go on like this. It's too toxic and too damaging for so many people. And I think that what has happened recently during the past couple of months actually is going to help us in this direction, because so many people have realized that this is not working for them.
Great.
The current thing.
So your 90-year-old self is going to thank you for staying on course.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So you're on a stage. You're the advocate for all of that. Workplace well-being, wellness. You're on a stage. You're addressing tens of thousands of women. and it's all about being empowered to grow in your way. What would be the message, the final message you would leave them with?
Trust yourself.
I love that.
We do have all the answers inside of us. And this has been repeated by so many people in the past.
Sure.
But we do have this tendency to trust courses or gurus or teachers or books, and sometimes there might be a glimpse of truth in those things, or you may come across a really good teacher or a therapist or somebody who can push you in the right direction. But by and large, we do not give enough space to our own intuition and that inner knowing. And from the Heart Math Institute, what they're saying is that your heart actually sends more signals to your brain than vice versa.
That's true. That's true.
So your heart really knows, your gut really knows.
And your gut is actually the second biggest nervous system within your body. It has the most neurons. So your gut literally can tell you what's happening.
Literally knows. So it's a really good thing to start listening to your body and learning. If you don't know how to do that yet, just learn it. It's a learning curve, little by little, and you will reach a place where your body will actually tell you what the right thing is to do.
Because you're also asking them to go against or to recondition themselves from, growing up and being told that you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, you don't know how to do this. No, trust that you can, and trust yourself. Trust that, yes, you, as you said, there are gurus out there. There are people who've been doing it. And yes, you can stand on the shoulder of giants, but you don't have to become another imitation of them. And that, exactly, I think is one of the things that draws back a lot of people and holds them back, that they're scared to be authentic because of the acceptance on the other side of the, the external validation, versus that internal gratification is a lot more valid than the external validation.
Exactly. And I think that for women all over the world, I've seen women we are all this, essentially all the same.
Yes, true.
And we do have a tendency to overextend ourselves.
Yes. Regardless
of the culture. And then there's, of course, the cultural conditioning that comes into play in many parts, or I'm not going to say all parts of the world. I come from Scandinavia, and actually people often think that it's a haven for
women.
Women. Maybe we have certain things that are better than others, but quite frankly, it's not a haven by any chance. So there's cultural conditioning there as well. Yeah. So I would really encourage all women to learn to go into, like I said, just go back into that knowing, because we do have that knowing inside of ourselves.
That's beautiful.
It's beautiful when you connect with that. It's beautiful.
Yes, true.
And then you can give more to others when you are connected with that with that vibe, one can say. It's and you can give more to others for sure.
That's true. So it was beautiful. Thank you for your pearls of wisdom, and everything that is related to Empower to Grow. If people want to reach out or want to listen to more of you, where can our listeners find you in, I call it virtual space? Where can they find you in virtual space?
They can find me in LinkedIn under Inner Work.
Okay.
INNER, and then work. Or my website, which is innerwork.world.
Nice. I'll put the links anyway in the show notes, so they will be there. Susanna, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your energy and everything. I love talking to you.
I love talking to you. Thanks, Hanan. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. This is another amazing episode for Empower to Grow. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all. Thank you for listening to the Empower to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empower to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananulbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you, empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.